Saving money is not making you safe. It might be the exact thing keeping you poor. That sounds backwards, doesn't it? You were taught to save. Your parents told you to save. Every financial guru on the internet tells you to save. And saving is good, don't get me wrong. It's the first step. But here's the part almost nobody explains clearly. Money sitting still is money losing a quiet war every single day. It's not losing in the way you'd notice, no dramatic crash, no red numbers flashing on a screen. It's losing in the way a block of ice loses keys in a warm room, slowly, steadily, until one day you look and there's a lot less than you thought. This video is about why saving alone, without ever investing, without ever putting your money to work, can leave you standing still while everyone and everything else moves forward. And by the end, you'll understand exactly what to do differently. Let's start with the setup, because most people don't even realize there's a problem. You open a savings account, you put your money in, you feel good about it, responsible, disciplined. And technically, you are being responsible. The issue isn't your discipline. The issue is what that money is actually doing while it sits there. Cash in a regular savings account earns very little interest, often less than 1% a year in many basic accounts, sometimes closer to 0.5%. Meanwhile, prices for everything around you, groceries, rent, gas, healthcare, keep climbing. That gap between what your savings earn and how fast prices rise has a name. It's called inflation eating your purchasing power. Purchasing power just means how much your money can actually buy. And here's the uncomfortable truth. If your savings earn less than the rate prices are rising, your money is technically growing in number, but shrinking in what it can actually buy you. Let's make this real with our first main point. Imagine you tucked away $100,000 in a basic savings account back in the year 2000. No investing, just saving, exactly the way most people are taught to do it. Now, fast forward to today, July of 2026. Because of decades of inflation averaging around 3% a year, that same $100,000 would need to grow to somewhere around $200,000 just to buy what $100,000 used to buy back then. But basic savings accounts, especially over that stretch of decades where interest rates were often near zero, didn't come close to keeping pace. So the number in the account might look similar or even a little higher, but the actual buying power, the real-world value of that money, quietly got cut by roughly half. You didn't lose money on paper, you lost it in real life, in what it can actually do for you. That's point number one. Saving without growth is not neutral, it's a slow leak. Now here's point number two, and this is where investing enters the picture. Investing simply means putting your money into something that has the potential to grow over time, like a share of a company, a piece of real estate, or a broad basket of many companies at once. Instead of your money sitting flat, it's working. It's participating in growth happening in the economy. The most commonly referenced example of this is the stock market as a whole, often measured by an index called the S&P 500, which tracks 500 of the largest companies in the United States. Historically, going back nearly a full century, that index has returned an average of around 10% a year before adjusting for inflation, and around 7% a year after adjusting for inflation. Now compare that 7% real return to a savings account that barely keeps pace with inflation, sometimes not even that. The difference doesn't sound huge in a single year. 7% versus 0%, that's just 7 points, right? Wrong. And this brings us to point number three, the part almost nobody explains well enough. Compounding. Compounding is what happens when your growth starts earning its own growth. Not just your original money making more money, but the money it already made, making even more on top of that. It builds on itself, again and again, like a snowball rolling downhill and picking up more snow with every turn. There's a simple trick for understanding how powerful this is, sometimes called the rule of 72. You take the number 72 and divide it by your growth rate, and that roughly tells you how many years it takes for your money to double. At around 7% growth, your money doubles roughly every 10 years. At near 0% in a basic savings account, doubling might take over a century. 10 years to double, or over 100 years to double. That's not a small gap. That's the difference between your money working for you and your money basically standing frozen in place. Here's point number 4, and it's about time, because time is the one ingredient compounding needs most. Picture two people. One starts investing small amounts in their 20s. The other waits until their 40s to start, but puts in more money each month to try to catch up. In almost every realistic scenario, the person who started earlier ends up with more money in the end, even though they put in less total cash over their lifetime. Why? Because their money had more years to double, and double again, and double again. This is why saving alone quietly punishes you the longest. Every year your money sits in a low-interest account instead of growing, you're not just missing out on that year's growth. You're missing out on all the future doublings that growth would have kicked off. It's not a flat loss. It's a loss that multiplies the longer you wait. Now, let's talk about point number 5, because at this point you might be thinking, investing sounds risky and saving feels safe. That feeling is real, but it's worth examining closely. Yes, investments can go up and down in value in the short term. A stock market index can drop 10, 20, even 30% in a rough year. That's real, and it's uncomfortable. But over long stretches of time, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, those short-term dips have historically smoothed out into long-term growth, again and again, across many different decades and many different economic conditions. Meanwhile, a savings account feels safe because the number never drops. But we already showed you what's happening underneath that number. The real danger isn't the account balance falling, it's the purchasing power quietly falling while the balance stays flat or barely moves. Short-term risk in investing is visible and uncomfortable. Long-term risk in only saving is invisible and often far more damaging, because you don't feel it happening until years later, when you realize your money can't buy what it used to. So here's the turn, the piece that reframes everything we just walked through. Saving isn't the enemy. Saving is step 1. It's the emergency fund, the safety net, the foundation you stand on. But saving was never designed to build wealth. It was designed to protect you in the short term. Investing is the tool designed to build wealth over the long term because it lets your money grow and then lets that growth grow, decade after decade. The real shift isn't choosing between saving and investing. It's understanding that they do two completely different jobs. Keep enough saved for emergencies and near-term needs. But money you don't need for years, money meant for your future. That money needs to be out there working, compounding, growing, instead of sitting still and quietly losing ground to inflation. The people who end up ahead financially aren't necessarily the ones who save the most. They're the ones who understood the difference early and let time and growth do the heavy lifting for them. If this shifted the way you think about your own savings, do us a favor and hit like on this video. It genuinely helps this channel keep making content like this. And if you haven't already, subscribe to Money Mindy Hala, because this is part of a series where we break down exactly how money really works, without the jargon and without the sales pitch. In the next video, we're going deeper into exactly how to start moving from saving to investing, step by step. Even if you're starting with very little, you're going to want to see that one.